When negative thoughts or acts, such as violence, etc., are caused to be done, or even approved of, whether incited by greed, anger, or infatuation, whether indulged in with mild, medium, or extreme intensity, they are based on ignorance and bring certain pain. Reflecting thus is also Pratipaksha Bhavana. In the presence of one firmly established in non-violence, all hostilities cease.
There are certain rules that this universe lives by. There are certain rules. It's the universal law, and it's the law of this planet, and it's the law of the earth. And last week we talked about one of the first laws was the law of non-violence. How violence, it causes cause and effect. And how, when you're in the company of somebody who's not violent, all hostilities cease, because you're in an energy of peace. Because if you don't have violent thought, what energy are you giving out? Peace, right? That's the energy, because the thought patterns have become so refined by working on your own mind rather than wanting the whole world to change for you. You're working on your own mind, and it's a refinement. It's using your will. It's using your will over your desires. The Upanishads say very clearly, when the desires that create knots in your heart are released, the mortal becomes immortal. When the desires that strangle your heart are released, the mortal becomes immortal. When we have personal desires, and sometimes they're not good for us, but because we're fixated, and this is fixation or addiction, what happens? To get what we want, we start to lie, we start to be untruthful. It's not about good or bad. It's just about cause and effect. And when, there's a lovely saying that goes like this: oh, what tangled webs we weave when we first practice to deceive. The moment you start saying untruths, there are webs that are being formed. My father used to say, Nalini, this world is like a big web. The secret is not to get caught in it. Don't get caught in this web. And so this saying by Walter Scott that Les quoted to me the other day, I said, it's perfect to start the talk today, because today we are going into the second golden rule, which is truthfulness. So it is Sutra 36 in your Sutra book, and it says, to one established in truthfulness, actions and their results become subservient. Subservient. What does this mean? Here it's just telling you so clearly, when you are truthful and when you are established in truth, when your life is lived truthfully, when you live who you are truthfully, and you treat and you understand the highest truth, what happens? All nature will serve you. Nature will serve you. You don't have to worry about it. But why then would not everyone want to practice the truth? Why do people lie? And it's that secret, the desire, the addiction. People only lie for one simple reason. They want something so bad, they know in their minds that something is not right with what they want. So they have no choice. They lie, not because they're bad, because they don't know how to deal with the desire. This desire is causing them too much pain. But the desire will help, which is untruthful, will create a web for them, a tangled web. And we've seen that. I've seen it in all my years of consulting. When people lie a lot and they're caught out, it's disastrous. It is literally disastrous. People fall apart. And, many times it happens with disloyalty, right? That's where I see it the most, when people are disloyal, either to a friend or any relationship, to their parents, any kind of disloyalty. And they lie for a long period of time. The moment that person finds out that person's lied to them, what happens? The trust is lost. There's a lot of pain caused. And everybody loses out because of this. And when you tell a lie, what happens to your brain? What happens? You tell me.
You have to remember it.
Correct. You have to remember it. Oh, what did I say yesterday? What lie did I tell yesterday? And why didn't I tell the truth? And say, I can't remember what I said. But if you speak the truth, there's nothing to remember. It's the truth. And the truth stays the same again and again. Now, what does that do to your mind? Very clear. Very clear. Okay, sometimes the truth is not pleasant. And Sri Patanjali also addresses this. And so does the Gita. And the Gita says, these are the disciplines of speech. Speaking truthfully, pleasantly, and kindly, with words that do not excite others, and reading scripture. Why reading scripture? Swadhyaya, we call it. Because it takes you away from the desire to say something hurtful or unkind or untruthful. You don't want to say it, because once you say it's too late. Remember the Tirukkural? He says in his poem, once you have spoken the word, it's like a bird. You can't bring it back. People remember for life. People remember when it's so hurtful. It stays with them. It stays with them. And then you suffer that untruth for the rest of your life. You may forget it, but that person will make sure you never forget it. So there's so many complications when you don't speak the truth. So how do you speak the truth? At the right time, at the right place, at the right moment. And then your mind is clear. There's nothing to hide. There's no mess in your mind. And of course, why does it say that when you speak the truth, all nature is subservient? Again, cause and effect, right? So if you speak, my mother used to say that. My mother used to say, if you speak the truth, whatever you want, God will give you. It will just come to you, because it's like a mantra. Because it's like a prayer, because you're never saying anything that's not true, or never anything you're really practicing on yourself. And this is a practice. As it says, practicing lies to deceive creates these webs, and practicing truth creates these gifts. So when you practice truth, gifts come to you. And your mind is so clear, it's so quiet. So you may think, we run on frequency and radio waves, you know that, right? Isn't it nice that science has proven it now? 30 years ago, people thought I was mad when I talked about telepathy, But now people have understood. So when we're in truth, we're in the frequency of the universe. So like you think a thought, and you'll get it. And I always tell my mango story, because it's very, I'll tell it again and again. And it was many, many years ago when I first started this path. And it happened to you as well. It's happened to many of you practicing truth. Whatever you want, you get. It makes me laugh. I was literally practicing. So I had decided this week I'm going to practice truthfulness. I worked in a shop. You try to sell, and you know what happens in a shop? You exaggerate. You tell little white lies, but unnecessary lies, So I was really watching. No, I'm not going to oversell this. I'm going to be really honest, And I was trying, somebody wanted a really expensive handbag. She really couldn't afford it, but her eyes, I really want that. And I thought, oh no, I'm going to show her a cheaper one that's really nice, and tell her, this one you can get, you can afford this one. And my husband killed me. He said, you don't have, what's happened to you, I said, no, I want to help her to get the best bag for her. And I said, look at the quality, it's just as good. It's just as, this is a name brand and this doesn't. So you're saving yourself hundreds. Why spend hundreds when you can get this one? So I started doing this a lot, and I was in my home. And that morning I had this thought, I really, really want an Indian mango. You know, I don't know if you've ever tried an Indian mango, but they're so delicious, right? And in that time, they didn't grow mangoes in this part of the world. Literally 5 minutes later, my doorbell rings in Gibraltar. I was living in Gibraltar at this time. Oh, my aunt, was it you? Was it one of you? She had got some Indian mangoes. You see, you're still feeding me. Every Wednesday she brings me food, still feeding me. And so she said, my aunt said she got this Indian mango and she wanted you to have it. I couldn't believe it. And then I went to my prayer room right away. See, when these things happen to you, you know what you do right away? Gratitude. Gratitude. Now the sutra became alive. I understood the magic of this scripture. It was a reality. It wasn't just something I studied and nothing happened from it. I had the effect. I've seen this happen with people who practice the truth. Another time we were in Barcelona, and these stories have to be told because they're real. They're real. And I think Andrew was traveling with us and from Madrid to Barcelona. And then we were, somebody had given her a beautiful silver dish in Madrid that she knew. And she goes, now this is really beautiful, da da da. We go to Barcelona. And somebody wanted a initiation. But at the yoga center we went to, they had nothing, right? So we went, oh, she needs a bowl. We need a bowl to do a prayer. And Anju goes, here is the silver bowl, born for this project, you know. And she gave it to our hostess as well. But it was like this. Everywhere we go, things just come as we need them. And it's not for our selfish need. It's really because our minds are not thinking, oh, I need this for me and this is what you do. No, our minds are thinking, we're here to serve. Let us do the job properly. And if it's not needed, we'll buy it. We don't scold the hostess. We just do it ourselves. We've done it many times. Many times we've gone to places and they don't have stuff. We just go shopping for them and do it. Not because for any reason, because we are living the truth of the desire of that ceremony, or for the beauty of that place, for the upliftment of humanity. And that's the biggest truth of all. Ultimately, we are here to uplift each other. And when we can treat each other as brothers and sisters and not separate, oh, you don't have this and I have this, and why did you get this ready? As many teachers do, sorry, forgive me. If we're all learning, we are just all learning. We're on this road together. We need to hold each other's hands. And that is the biggest truth. For me, this is the biggest truth. That's all we can do for each other. And we're each given a mission. And if we follow our truth, the mission is shown to us which direction to go. Sometimes your mission is just to make your family beautiful. Or sometimes, which is the biggest mission of all, I think it's the hardest one. Or just to bring joy to where you are. It can be so simple, the mission. But this is why I love Mother Teresa as well. It's not in the big things you do, it's in the small things you do with love. This word keeps coming up again and again and again. Action, reaction. Action, reaction. You have a question.
What is the difference between inspiration and that energy and desire? Because sometimes it can be very similar.
I love that question. I love that question. See, inspiration and a desire, let's say you have a desire to have, give me a desire that you think you want to have. Any example? To you, Mango, she goes. Okay, may you get one. So, so it depends on the desire, okay? So let's say, anybody, give me a desire that you think because for me it's very difficult. I know what my desire so much.
People might want a relationship.
Okay, let's say somebody wants a relationship. You really want a relationship. Is it wrong? No, it's wonderful. You need it. You've sent that to the universe, right? Now, when the desire that strangles the heart, this is the strangling. I need it now. I need to meet somebody right now. I'm lonely. I'm sad. Do you see it's personal? It's getting way too personal now without a relationship. I'm not whole. You've sold your independence to the desire. You've sold your strength. You've sold who you are to that desire. Let's say to that relationship. Is it wrong to want one? No. But remember, when you focus on that desire and it strangles you because you're in pain, because you're not getting it, you will always get the wrong partner. The wrong partners will come to your life because you're so desperate for that relationship that the wrong people will come to your life and you will suffer. And you will suffer. However, the inspiration, okay, I'm going to look nice, when the right person comes to me, it'll come. But meanwhile, I'm going to be inspired to live a good life. I'm going to empower myself as a man or a woman. I'm going to be the best I can as a human being because I have so much faith that when the time is right, it's going to happen. And it will happen. It will happen. Even the mantra, Om united with the source on which the yogis ever dwell, grants desires and liberation. Salutations to the Om Karam. We have come here for our desires to be granted. That's why we chose to come back again. We have come here. They should be granted, but in the highest, most honest, most truthful, most beautiful way where there is no what? You tell me.
Selfishness.
That's right. No, correct. What is a perfect action? You know it. One that causes no harm to anyone, some benefit to someone, yourself included. So this is the secret. And this is how, yes, Giovanni, you had a question, great question. Did I finish answering yours? Yes, okay, great. Yeah, so there's a difference. When it strangles you, let it go because it's making you sick. But inspiration is great. You need inspiration. Why not?
To ask if I'm correct thinking that a desire, if it comes, when you think about it and feel lack of it, you're vibrating that you don't have it. You feel bad that you don't have the relationship right now. And that's what you get. You vibrate bad feeling about it and you get it, whatever comes or doesn't come, or the wrong partner. And when you think about it as an inspiration, it makes you feel good, it makes you want to look beautiful, and thinking about the relationships make you feel uplifted. You are vibrating positive energy, and that's what you're attracting.
Correct. 100% correct. 100%. That's exactly what you're attracting because you are you're not dependent. You're not dependent on somebody else to make you happy. That's when you get the best relationships, by the way. You're not dependent. I am happy already. This will be a bonus in my life. If it should happen, it'll be a bonus. But I am happy as I am. So when you desire it so badly, you kind of choose the wrong people. And I've seen this happen again and again and again. And then once you're in that web of the wrong person, it's very difficult to get out because the fear comes. Oh my God, but this person did look after me. He gave me this and gave me that. Yeah. But he put you down or she put you down and made you feel bad when you wanted to live your own life and didn't like the fact that you went out with your friends. Okay, so one hand, yes, takes you out for dinner. The other hand, not allowed to live unless you live by their rules. I mean, that's control, right? That is super control. And I have seen that. You can't, and then that person, and Sue, you were talking about it tonight. She said her first relationship, I can say that? Yes, yeah, was like that. And she was an independent woman. She had her own job. And, women, we think sometimes that we just need to give, the man's looking after us, so you relax. And then start controlling. And this also happens the other way, okay? Women do it to men. I've seen it so much. They totally control their men and they make them into wimps. And the same, men do this to women and make them into wimps. And I'm constantly saying to them, you know, what happened to your God-given power? What given, you know, to become who you are? What's wrong in that? Any human being stops you from being who you are. They're not allowing you to live your truth. They don't have the right to do that. Nobody has the right. Run a mile. You have to live the life that you have been given to the most beautiful way, you know, and trusting. If you have complete faith, nothing is impossible. It's like she said, the inspiration is the faith, is knowing when the time is right, everything will happen. It's not my time yet. It's not my time yet. And maybe it won't be in this life. I really don't know, but I believe in Grant. I've seen Grant's desires and liberations. If you don't get one thing, something else comes along that, wow, will give you such an incredible feeling as a relationship would give you. It's not only a relationship that can give you this, service gives you that, you know, when you're at peace. We talked about Ananda Samadhi, which is that feeling that the joy just comes up to you by itself, right? And when you live truthfully, when you don't harm anybody, then you'll get all these sudden gifts of like, suddenly you're just like, oh, no amount of money can pay for this joy. No amount of money. Nothing I do even can pay for this joy. There's nothing to do. It's a gift. It's just a gift. You're not even wanting to do anything. It's just a gift that comes to you by itself because the mind is quiet. It's not all the time, I want, I need, if I don't have this, I'm not going to be happy. Okay, if I have little, I'll live with little. You know, you just accept your situation. I have little. And I always say, you know, because most of what happens to us is, you know, it says God grants our every need, not our every greed, you know. And if we just look at our lives, you know, and just go, I have food, I have a bed to sleep on, good enough, I have clothes to wear. What more do you need? I can pay my bills. For me, this is very important. I need to pay every single bill that comes my way. I've never owed a penny, and I hope I never have to owe a penny in my life. So this is what I do. And all I need, but not my greed. And this is how we need to live. But do you want anything that's more? I know I have so much and I never even asked for it. And you know, how do you know? Because there's a feeling that comes through you that, you know, you have a job to do. We just don't like to listen to the truth. Sometimes the truth sounds too hard. It's too much responsibility. It's, okay, you know, can I just have a holiday? No, sometimes it's like that. But when you follow that truth, you get the best holidays ever because you realize that they knew what was best for you, but you have to live in that space of non-violence and truthfulness to understand these messages that are constantly coming to us. And they come to us through people, through your family, through your children, through everybody. And we're just so stubborn. No, I want it this way. If I have this, I'm going to be happy. But you're not getting this. Go, you know, you're not getting it. Go somewhere else. Take another path. Accept that you're not getting what you want, like you said in a relationship, you know, you're not getting it. Angry, frustration, you're losing every TikTok. The time is going. You're losing your life. We're going to die alone. So the most important relationship of all, think, I only want a relationship if it brings peace. Otherwise, prefer to be alone. Got it? I prefer to be alone, and I need to build up myself. Now, if you're in a relationship and it's not peaceful, then create it. Create that space for peace, but don't lose your independence. It happened to me. It didn't have much peace in the beginning of my relationship. A lot of love, though, with my late husband who died 15 years ago. Lots of love, but we were totally different day and night. And it's thanks to this study that I realized that the reason we didn't see eye to eye is because he wanted to be right and I wanted to be. I was a very stubborn woman. I wanted to be right. So there was this argument that created, and it could have been destroyed if I didn't have this study. And I realized my God, you've come to teach me. Because of the Sutras of Patanjali, and that's why I love to study it. So I could work. I realized this was my work in life. It was my work. I had to be the example of the teaching and to prove that they worked. And they work. And everybody who practices knows this. It works when you go beyond your desire. But going beyond your desire, being truthful, is painful. It's not easy. It's not easy when you have such a great desire. And I have so much love for those people. You know, I see people who tell so many lies because they're caught in this web. And when the truth comes out, how much they suffer. And they come to me and say, oh, Nalini, I wish, why was I so weak? Why did I have this addiction? And I go, now you need to forgive yourself, because the punishment you give to yourself is so bad. The punishment you give to yourself is worse. Don't punish yourself anymore. I have to teach you to forgive yourself. You know, people go, how can you treat somebody like that who's done that? So you don't understand where they're coming from. They're not coming from a pain. It just, they didn't have this knowledge of truthfulness. So they learn to weave their lies, thinking they'll escape from their lies. Nobody's going to find out, but the truth always comes out. And we all know this. The truth always comes out, whether we like it or not. So the people who create these lies are the ones that suffer. You know it, and we all know it. When the truth comes out, bang, everything gets destroyed. Not only one person's life, but many, many, many lives. So this is why truthfulness is so important to practice. But most important, also practice being truthful to yourself. You know, I created this Axiom course, which is a therapy that is based on being truthful, but using compassion. You know, and that is just works because, let's say this person comes to me and says, Nalini, I've told so many lies. I said, I know. And you're suffering the consequences. You're not judging me. No, but you know, this cause, you get this effect. You've learned the lesson. So there's nothing to correct. Let's help you get through this. How do we get through this? How do we get you feeling whole again? Because you see, we know. Everybody, why do people lie? Because they know they're doing wrong. Why would you lie? There's no reason to lie if you're not doing anything wrong, is there? So people who lie know they're doing wrong. Corruption in all walks of life, we see it in every tradition, in every religion, in every politics all over the world. We see it. We see the result of it. We're seeing this in this age of greed, this age of untruthfulness. Politicians are lying to us all the time. People are lying to us all the time. Nobody even trusts the news anymore. They're run by people who own a lot of money. We know this. It's all out. And yet we still follow. We still allow their lies to control us. And this is why spirituality is maintaining the real truth. What is the real truth? What is spirit? What is spirit? And I'd like to read to you something I wrote on truthfulness many years ago when I wrote this book. And this is the beauty of truth. When you live in truth, you have peace. I tell you, there's no price to pay on peace. No price. So, you know, if you want to know God, go for that peace. Because if you have peace, you have God. And that is the truth. I'd just like to read a few of these to you. I'd like you to think about these things. Our time is limited. We must be true to ourselves, or we will live our lives as robots. When we live in truth, we are free. We feel free. Wherever there is untruth, there will be pain. And I've seen that. When there's not truthfulness, there is pain. When we live in truth, we don't have to do anything. We live in peace. Truthfulness has no fear of consequences. You're not worried about what will happen because you're living in truth. Be courageous to accept ourselves and be truthful, especially to ourselves. We talk about the truth. Do we live the truth? And again, this is a practice for you on the other side and everywhere here. Make it a practice. I did. I actually wrote down every time I told an untruth, even if it was a silly untruth. I go, why do you need to say that, Melanie? It wasn't necessary. I had realized that I'd fallen into a pattern of just exaggerating when it wasn't necessary. Why do I need to exaggerate? Why was I scared just to say, what was the truth, which is, okay, I didn't do the job so well. Oh no, I didn't do the job so well because I didn't have the time and da 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 da. You know what? I didn't do the job so well. Sorry. So easy. So easy. You're right. You're right. My husband used to say, you're so emotional. No, I'm not emotional. You're just cold. And when I learned this, you're right. I am emotional. So what do I do with this emotional? Instead of saying, no, I'm not, it's the truth. I am. And he was telling me the truth to my face, and I was fighting with my guru who was giving me the truth. Who is really in truth? Do you see? It just made it so clear to me. And I go, yes. So what do you do with your emotions? You transform into love. You transform into love. And every time you watch yourself, so that was an exercise. It's an exercise on my emotion. It came up and it's burning to be told you're so emotional and you're so used to the old reaction. And this is where you apply your willpower. And you go, I'm not doing this action again. I'm not, because it is the truth. I'm not trying to fix anybody, but I want to live in peace. So I need to keep quiet. Yes, I'm emotional. Sorry, it was over the top. And every time you do that, that behavior goes away. It becomes less and less and less. And the other thing is, be patient. Take your time. This doesn't happen overnight. People think, oh, I study a bit of spirituality, it's going to happen. It's years of practice. Years practicing it for the rest of your life. And every time you practice more and more, you realize that there were untruths that you even didn't realize were there. I mean, still, I get realizations now of how I was maybe 30 years ago. And I go, oh, I could have done that much better. But I didn't have the knowledge then. I could have. Oh, this poor person, I blame them for this. But really, I could have reacted differently. And that wouldn't have happened. There was nobody to blame. It was my lesson. And you have these aha moments. And it's fantastic because it makes everything clear. You are left with the mind that there is nobody to blame. There's just to live in that joy of the truth. And it's all a learning. We came to learn it. We asked for those lessons. Truthfulness must be applied with great awareness. You've got to be aware what's coming out of your mouth, what's coming into your mind, what thoughts are coming into your mind. Awareness. If you want to know the truth, stay in the company of the truthful. Be around truthful people. Be around people who make you laugh, who speak the truth, who speak on higher goods, who help you through your time of struggle. Because we all have to struggle this pain. We all have to understand. It's called tapas, accepting pain for purification. It's going to help you to become a better person. Accept it. So be around people who understand. Have good friends who are on the same walk in life, who will uplift you and not judge you. Because in the beginning, people will judge you when you're different. So it's hard to be changing yourself when you're in judgment. So be with people that are like-minded. Next one. Think I am, because if you think I will be, you are saying I am not. So, I am truthful. I am. And I'm going to do everything in my life because I am. And when I am in that I am that I am, I'm connected to the divine. I'm connected to the source. I'm connected to God. And you know, how do you know? There's no ripples. It's just silent. It's just silent. And that's when you know. And you love your own company, not because you love you, but because it's quiet. There's no noise. It's just quiet. And that's so peaceful. It gives you energy. It gives you life force. You can feel the connection of the life force. And then also gives you the faith and knowledge that when this body is gone, that life force will live on. And it'll live on in a very nice energy field. We'll go to that frequency. I'd like to go to that frequency when I die, of peace, you know. So, and this is what it gives you. And we're here on this earth to enjoy it while we're with wonderful people, surrounded by incredible souls. We need to enjoy it with them. It's no fun enjoying it on your own, you know, even though you love your own company. But it's lovely to be in the company of like-minded people and share that joy and hopefully inspire that joy to wake up in yourself and know that you are divine, and know that you are divine, and everything you need will be given to you, and just know it. You just have to live in truth and things will work out. And yes, you will suffer when you give up your desires. Every addict will tell you that. Everyone with such a great desire will tell you that. It's hard to let go of it. You will suffer, but accepting pain for purification. Sri Patanjali tells us, when you get through it, the gifts will be given to you. Seek ye first the kingdom of God in all its righteousness, and everything else will be added unto you. So don't seek those desires and those lies, because they'll give you pain. That's all it's showing you. Seek the right way, the truth, and it'll give you everything you want. It may take time though, but doesn't matter, we have time. It tests your faith. It will always test your faith. If somebody does a bad action, it doesn't mean they're bad. That's also a truth. I always say, in every good person, there's a little bit of bad. In every bad person, there's a little bit of good. And we need to see that truth also. Life is cruel, or God is great, depending on which way you look at it. Scriptural knowledge is only useful if we use it wisely. And that's why we're studying Patanjali, and that's why it's a personal practice. It's a personal practice, and it's a practice that you have to decide, do I want to live this way, or do I want to live in pain? The choice is always ours. You see, this is what we do have. But desires take over, and this is what I was talking about, and they're really strong, huh? They're really strong, because there's something in you, and you know, people who have lots of desires, and it takes over. And how do you know when it's not good for you? When it takes you over. When you're like this, you're nervous, you're anxious, you're not yourself anymore. You've given your power away. That's when you know. You know that the desire is too much for you, because you've got anxiety. You cannot sleep at night. And I go, so much easier to surrender. But it's not that easy to surrender to. If you haven't that faith, right? If you don't realize that you are divine and you're spiritual, more than human actually, because a human life is very short. Our eternal life, our spiritual life is very, very, what do they say? It's eternal. So we're not thinking straight. We're not thinking straight. We're thinking too human. We need to remember who we really are. This is spirituality. This is the whole teaching of spirit. Remember, I'm not this body. Come on, let's sing it together. You all know it. I'm not this body. I'm not this my immortal self I am. I'm not this body. I'm not this my immortal self I am. And you just remember it and remember it. Or chant the mantra, because it is powerful. What is the mantra? That which protects and liberates. Why does it protect and liberate? Because the mind is a tool. Sometimes it's so dangerous. It thinks like a million thoughts, right? And you can't control it. You can't control it. So, and you're trying to control it. I don't need this thought. I don't want this desire. It doesn't work. So how does the mantra work if it's on a higher frequency? And if you keep repeating it when you need it the most, when that desire comes up, it saves you. It takes you away from that, I need to have a know with once, I'm not happy, I'm mad. It takes that away. It takes the sting away. Because why? It takes you away from your thought. It takes you away from your thought and it reminds you, I'm not this body, I'm not this mind, I'm much more than this. Because while you're involved in your thought, you drown. But when this separation happens, it's like the Upanishads, like two golden birds sat on the self-same tree, the ego and the higher self. The ego eats the sweet and sour fruit of the tree while the self watches. So we take ourselves to that higher place, to the higher self. When we do the mantra, we take ourselves there to the witness, we remember. And then the thought fades. It doesn't have that power over us anymore. So this is why mantra chanting is so important.